Have you ever noticed something strange? The more ways we have to entertain ourselves, the easier it is to get bored. We carry endless videos, games, movies, and music in our pockets. Yet somehow, just a few quiet minutes can feel uncomfortable. Now imagine the complete opposite. Imagine living 100,000 years ago. No phone, no books, no television, no internet, not even a board game. The day's hunt is over, the fire is slowly burning, the sun has disappeared behind the hills, and now there is absolutely nothing to do. So what happened next? Did ancient humans simply sit there, staring into the darkness until it was time to sleep? Or did those quiet moments accidentally create some of the greatest ideas our species has ever had? As strange as it sounds, archaeologists and scientists believe that boredom may have helped shape the human mind. And if that's true, then boredom isn't a modern problem. It's one of the oldest experiences we've ever had. But before we can answer that question, we need to clear up one huge misunderstanding. Most people imagine ancient humans fighting for survival every second of every day. Movies show them constantly chasing animals, running from predators, searching for food, barely surviving. It makes sense to believe they never had a spare moment. But that's probably not what life looked like. When anthropologists studied some of the last hunter-gatherer societies still living traditional lifestyles, they found something completely unexpected. Many of these groups didn't spend every waking hour working. In fact, after food was found and daily tasks were finished, there was often plenty of time left, time to rest, time to talk, time to laugh, and sometimes time to simply do nothing. Think about that for a second. Thousands of generations before cities, before schools, before offices and 9-to-5 jobs, people sometimes had free afternoons. And that's where the real mystery begins, because the human brain hates doing absolutely nothing. The moment your body becomes still, your mind starts looking for something to fill the silence. Today we grab our phones. Ancient humans had no such escape. So what did they do instead? The answer may still be hanging in museums today. Deep inside a cave in southern Africa, archaeologists discovered tiny seashells unlike anything they expected. These weren't leftovers from a meal. They weren't tools. They weren't weapons. Someone had carefully drilled tiny holes through them. Even more surprising, many of the shells had been covered with red pigment before being worn. Think about how much patience that would have required. No electric drill, no metal tools, just stone, hands, and time. Hours of careful work, simply to create something beautiful. That raises an interesting question. Why would someone spend an entire day making jewelry that couldn't help them hunt, couldn't protect them, and couldn't feed their family? Because sometimes survival wasn't the only thing happening. Sometimes people simply wanted to create. Maybe someone wanted to stand out. Maybe it was a gift. Maybe it marked an important moment in life. Or maybe it was simply something interesting to do. That tiny necklace tells us something surprising. Ancient humans weren't just trying to stay alive. They were already expressing themselves. They cared about beauty, about identity, about meaning. And those ideas may have first appeared during moments when there was nothing urgent demanding their attention. But making jewelry wasn't the only strange thing our ancestors did, because somewhere else, someone picked up the bone of a large bird, looked at it, and imagined something no other animal on Earth had ever imagined. Music. Picture the scene. The hunt is over. Children are asleep beside the fire. The stars fill the night sky. One person lifts a hollow bird bone to their mouth. A soft sound echoes through the camp. Then another. Soon, different notes begin to flow together. Without realizing it, one of the first songs in human history may have been born. Not because anyone needed music to survive, but because the human brain naturally searches for patterns. Rhythm, melody, sound. These things capture our attention in a way that words alone cannot. Even today, one simple melody can stay inside your head for hours. That part of your brain is incredibly old. Long before stadium concerts, before orchestras, before streaming apps, humans were already turning quiet evenings into music. And here's the fascinating part. No other animal has ever built an entire culture around songs the way humans have. That should make us ask an even bigger question. If boredom could lead to art, and boredom could lead to music, what else could happen when an ancient human sat quietly with nothing but their own thoughts? The answer may explain why humans became completely different from every other species on Earth. If creating art and music sounds impressive, the next step was even more important, because sooner or later, the music stopped. The fire burned lower. Everyone became quiet. And for the first time that day, there was nothing left to do except think. That may not sound like much, But it changed human history. Think about what happens when your mind has nothing to focus on. You start replaying conversations, you imagine tomorrow, you wonder about the future. Your brain begins asking questions all by itself. Ancient humans were no different. As they sat around a fire, their minds probably wandered far beyond the cave in front of them. What was beyond the mountains? Why did the seasons change? Where did the sun go every night? What happened after death? Nobody had the answers. But asking those questions may have been one of the biggest turning points in human history, because every great discovery starts the same way. Someone becomes curious. Today, scientists ask questions about black holes, distant galaxies, and the origins of life. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors asked questions that were much simpler, but just as important. And those questions slowly grew into stories. Imagine a group sitting around a fire after a long day. One person begins talking about a dangerous hunt. Another adds details. Someone else exaggerates what happened. The children listen carefully. The adults laugh. Before long, the story becomes something everyone remembers. Then it gets told again and again, until it becomes part of the group's history. Long before books existed, stories became humanity's first library. They passed on survival lessons, explained strange events, warned children about dangerous places, and helped people feel connected to one another. But stories did something else. They gave people the ability to imagine things that couldn't be seen. Heroes, spirits, powerful animals, invisible forces. Whether those stories were true or not almost didn't matter. What mattered was that people shared them together. That shared imagination helped strangers become friends, and small groups become communities. Some scientists even believe this ability to tell stories helped humans cooperate in ways no other animal could. Think about it. Lions hunt together, wolves hunt together, but humans can work together with hundreds, thousands, even millions of people who have never met. That kind of cooperation begins with something simple, a shared belief, a shared story, or a shared idea. And perhaps many of those ideas were born during moments that looked completely unimportant, moments of silence, moments of waiting, moments we would probably call boring. Ironically, that's something many of us rarely experience anymore. The second we have nothing to do, we reach for our phones. Standing in line, scroll. Waiting for food, scroll. Sitting quietly for 2 minutes, scroll again. We've become experts at escaping boredom. But what if we're also escaping something else? Modern brain research has found that when your mind isn't focused on a task, a different network inside your brain becomes active. This is when you reflect, connect old memories, solve problems without realizing it, and sometimes come up with your best ideas. Have you ever struggled with a problem for hours, only to suddenly find the answer while taking a shower or going for a walk? That's not a coincidence. Your brain was still working. It simply needed space. Maybe that's exactly what ancient humans had. Space to think, space to imagine, space to create. Without realizing it, those quiet moments may have led to art, music, stories, new ideas, and eventually civilizations. It's strange when you think about it. The very thing most people try to avoid today may have helped build the world we live in. So the next time you find yourself sitting quietly with nothing to do, don't rush to fill the silence. Let your mind wander for a while. Because somewhere, tens of thousands of years ago, a person sitting beside a small fire did exactly the same thing. And that simple moment may have changed the future of our species forever. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden side of ancient human life, make sure to subscribe and join us for more stories that reveal how our ancestors shaped the world and ourselves. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.